Let's welcome in Fraternal Order of Police National VP Joe Gamaldi. Joe, should JB Pritzker here be lowering the temperature, or do you think he's intentionally stoking the fire?
Well, I think he's intentionally stoking the fire with his idiotic and inflammatory rhetoric. This is why we see assaults on ICE officers up 1,000%. It's why we're seeing dirtbags attempting to assassinate them. I mean, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that when you dehumanize and demonize an entire agency, that incites violence. And keep in mind, they're only in Illinois because the violent crime is so bad there. Murders have gone up double in the last 10 years in the state of Illinois. On the west side of Chicago, you are just as likely to be murdered there as in the murder capital of the world, Tijuana, Mexico. So maybe the governor should shut his mouth because he's been complicit in the violence in his communities. He's done nothing about it. And he's certainly complicit in this violence against ICE agents. He should be ashamed of himself if he's even capable of feeling shame.
Why wouldn't the local residents be happy that these criminals who are wanted for some despicable crimes are taken out of their community? But I'm going to move on because I want to say this, Joe. Trump Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced troops are also coming to a number of cities to restore order across the country. Listen to this.
You've got a governor who doesn't want to help us. You've got mayors who don't want to help us. You've got woke DAs who don't want to help us. So if they're not going to help the people of their cities, we're going to help them. We're sending in FBI, of course, DEA, U.S. Marshals, ATF to back up our ICE men and women who are there following the law. We're doing that in Chicago and, yes, in Portland. Troops are going to come into Portland. In Memphis right now.
So the question being, Joe, what is controversial about protecting U.S. cities and why are Democrats not getting on board?
You know, there should be nothing controversial about public safety because ultimately what every family wants is to feel safe taking their kids to school, to feel safe to walk down the block to the grocery store. That's what Americans want. Now, the only reason that you can even surmise as to why Democrats are still opposed to making our community safe is because they value their radical ideology and these failed social experiments of letting these dirtbags out over and over again over the safety of community members. I mean, this is not rocket science. If we vigorously prosecute violent criminals and we throw them in jail, we can provide safe communities to everyone.
You speak a lot of truth there and common sense, Joe Gamaldi, and you also bring the heat, which we appreciate. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.